1. Not exactly a server, but I work as a cloakroom attendant in a restaurant, so technically I still serve customers by taking care of their belongings. For context, the layout of the reception: entrance doors in the middle, in front of them a staircase that leads to the mezzanine, to the right a small hallway leading to the main floor, to the left is the cloakroom. This time we have a huge company party. Most of the patrons are 40-year-old and up. Next to the cloakroom there's 2 doors, the lift, and 2 huge double doors that lead to the main floor where the party is. I am already used to people trying the lift door when looking for the loos. The whole night I had to point people into the right direction. No biggie. Cut to tipsy grandpa, roughly 70 years old, starts pulling at the lift door. "Excuse me, that is the door to the lift. Are you looking for the loos?" He gets startled and just stares at me. I smile and ask him again, "Are you looking for the loos?" "Yes." "It's just through those double doors over there." I point towards the doors and he goes back to the entrance doors and after 5 minutes of staring around, heads to the main door using the entrance on the right. Okay, weird. Fast forward 30 minutes or so. Same grandpa comes back. This time he's clearly intoxicated. Does the same thing, keeps pulling at the lift. "That's the lift, sir. The toilets are through the double doors on the left." Stares blankly at me and pulls some more. This time I raise my voice thinking that he might be hard of hearing or that the music is too loud, and I'm not talking loudly enough to be heard over it. I repeat the same thing. He nods and then goes through the double doors. Success! Or so I thought. About 2 hours later I see him again, and now he is proper drunk. Walking funny and everything. Goes straight towards the lift. As soon as he got close to me, I start telling him again where to find the loos. He goes and pulls at the door. "That's the lift, sir," and proceed to tell him again where the loos are. He goes. I'm already annoyed with him at this point. Is he trying to be funny or make fun of me? Sometime later, there he comes again, and this time I just let him go inside the lift. There you go, satisfy your curiosity. He goes in and closes the door behind him. I'm thinking he is now on his way up and will never bother me again. 5 minutes later, another colleague comes to me to chat and sees him with his face pressed against the door's window. What the fuck's going on there? Huh? What do you mean? I look at the lift and the idiot is mouthing help with his face pressed against the window. I try to open the door, but it won't. I keep pressing the button, but nothing is happening. My colleague left to bring help. Nobody knows how to open it, and the handyman is at home already. They had to pry open the panel to access some emergency key. In the meantime, I'm getting shouted at by the coworker for letting him go inside by himself. I calmly explain to him that this is the 4th time he's tried to go in, but unfortunately I haven't been able to jump over the counter to stop him. He calms down and leaves me be. Grandpa comes out all flustered and confused and gives me a nasty look. Why he wanted to go in so bad I will never know, but to this day, this is my favorite cloakroom story. 2. Imagine it's Saturday night and you're about to be cut, and then suddenly you're sat one more time. Okay, it's fine. I still have my silver to roll, so I can do that while serving the table. Is what I thought, but man do I regret taking it. So I greet them, 3-top, older couple and mid-20s daughter, and ask them for their drinks. They all order the same thing and I confirm with them before I walk away. They all say yes, that's right, and I ring it in. When I drop it off, the mom just says, "That's not what I ordered," and that it was another drink. Honestly, it may have been my mistake because it was my last table of the night after working 4 doubles in a row, so I apologized and changed the drink. But to be fair, I did confirm with them before I rang in the drinks. So, when I bring her the correct drink, I ask if they're ready to order. They all say yes, and the dad starts to order first. So he pulls up a picture of our green chicken enchiladas and says that's what he wants, so I ask him, "Okay, those are our chicken enchiladas. Do you want shredded chicken or fajita chicken?" He replies with fajita. And I say, "Great, now for the next order." The ladies say they're just gonna split a chili con queso, which 95% of the time is ordered as an appetizer. I say, "No problem, do you want me to bring it all together?" And they all looked at me funny and kind of laughed and said, "Yes." Kind of like saying, "Duh, of course we want it together." I ring in their food, and while they wait for their food, I'm cleaning my section and whatnot, and go to check on their food. We're short-staffed in the kitchen. But I mean, it's just enchiladas. I go back to check on my table, and the lady asks, "Where's our queso?" I kind of stand there with a, "Are you fucking kidding me?" look on my face. I just tell her, "Well, I asked you if you wanted me to bring you your food all together, and you said yes, so I'm waiting for the enchiladas." And they all give me a nasty look and said, "Oh, we thought you were talking about the check." Like, why in the hell would I be talking about the check? Anyways, I bring them their queso, and no, I will not apologize. Then, when their food finally comes out, the manager drops it off and apologizes for the long wait time. I go and check on them again, and the man who ordered the food is very obviously unhappy. He said, "This isn't what I ordered. I ordered fajita." I look at his meal and start laughing into my hands because at this point, they're driving me nuts. So I started to break it down for him. "Okay, so you showed me a picture of chicken enchiladas, right?" "Yes." "And I asked you if you wanted shredded chicken or fajita chicken, right?" "Yes." "And you said fajita. This is what you ordered. Did you mean to say that you wanted beef fajita?" "Yes, I wanted beef fajita, not chicken." "Okay, so we can change it to beef fajita if you want then." "No, well, I want the beef, but the kitchen is going to take too long." I can tell them it's an emergency order or you can keep your food. He just sighed and asks me to change it. Then I asked him one more question. "Okay, since the beef enchiladas are a different meal, did you want it with the salsa that comes with the beef or chicken enchiladas?" "Yes, the salsa that comes with the chicken enchiladas." So I go and change it and bring it out and let them be. Obviously, I was stiffed, but I don't care. The satisfaction of talking back to them was so worth it. 3. I've been at my current restaurant for almost a year to this date. In this year, I have had 6 paychecks be inaccurate. Firstly, my tips weren't paid out correctly, check number 1. Secondly, I worked in a different department and wasn't paid at all for that day. Then they asked for proof that I worked. I said I clocked in and out, and since I was in a different department, I also had to sign in on paper. They said I didn't sign in. I know I did. I went to said department and insisted they go through the sign-in sheets. Lo and behold, they had 2 sign-in sheets for that day, and they didn't know it. That was check number 2. Thirdly, annual raises are given out. I got an official letter saying my pay was being bumped from $4.59 an hour to $6.63 an hour. My next 2 paychecks didn't reflect this new hourly raise. It took me a month of back and forth to get this corrected. They backpaid me for the difference. Then, after an audit, they realized I was coded incorrectly in the system. I was coded as an AM server when I'm actually a PM server. So my boss and H&R sat down with me and explained this. They owned up to their mistake. They told me to keep the back pay, and said moving forward I'd actually be making £6.03. Now it's been 2 more pay periods and my checks still say $6.63. I brought it up to my manager, and she said she would fix it. Still has not been corrected. Those were checks 3, 4, and 5. And lastly, today my tips weren't paid out correctly, and my hourly rate is still the wrong higher amount that was supposedly fixed. Check number 6. I understand that it's my duty to review my pay stubs for accuracy, but it's getting exhausting, always finding errors of some kind. These haven't been easy fixes either. It takes weeks of back and forth corresponding to get these corrected. I've gone to higher-ups about this already. They apologized, but it's still happening. It's hard to stay motivated to go to work when I know that more than likely my pay won't be correct. And on top of it all, during their audit, they realized that I haven't been averaging the 32 hours a week I need to be considered full-time. My boss basically said, "You need to not take the cut as often and work the hours you're scheduled if you want to keep your benefits." I've been taking the cut often because I'm unmotivated, angry, and tired of having to watch my checks like a hawk. I don't like going into work knowing that I'm owed money. It's hard to be a cheerful server when, underneath, they owed me at one time $500. Isn't that literally the deal? I agree to work and they agree to pay me on time and correctly for said work. Again, sorry if this is a bit of a bratty rant. I took the cut today because I'm salty about my check not being right. I don't want to carry that into work with me. A coworker who knows I needed to stay on top of my hours texted me and said, "Hey girl, don't you need your hours?" I think she's meaning to be friendly, but it hurt my feelings a bit. I told her what's going on, and it seems like she gets it. Then, after taking the cut, promptly, for the first time, my boss texted me saying they already cut me a check for the discrepancy. So now I'm upset at myself for taking the cut, especially knowing I do actually need the hours. Ugh. Anyway, how would you all handle so many checks being incorrect? 4. My old manager hit me up one day and asked if I was liking my current restaurant job. I said no, due to there being unprofessional situations going on at the time. They then asked if I wanted to do an interview for To Go, since they needed a strong person on To Go that could potentially work delivering, catering, and advertise it, commission. They told me I could probably make $16 an hour. I agreed and went in for an interview. At first they offered $12 an hour, which is not worth what I was going to potentially do. I asked if they could match my pay, and the GM said they couldn't. I continue on with my interview, asking questions about overturn on To Go, which was quite high by the way, and how well they do on sales per night. As I was about to leave, the GM said she could match my current pay, which is $14 an hour. I thought that was fine and decided to take the offer. My first day goes fine. My trainer wasn't too into training me well. She admitted the last time she trained someone was 6 months ago, and that she hated working To Go. She then asked me how much they were paying me. I was honest and said 14. She said, "Oh." Night continues okay. Next training day, I set up To Go, and 20 minutes go by and my trainer hadn't arrived. I go into the office and asked when she would arrive, and the GM told me she no-called, no-showed. And the reason was because I had disclosed my wage to my trainer. My trainer was making $11 an hour. My trainer was mad that she was making less than me and decided not to show up. The GM claimed that we agreed on not talking about your wage to others, which we did not do during my interview. And why am I being blamed for someone leaving because I told the truth? My trainer had worked for the restaurant for 2 years now and was still making $11 an hour. I do not blame my trainer for leaving at all, but I don't appreciate being blamed that she left. Other things happened that night which I don't agree with, line cooks arguing with the manager. I don't think this place will get any better. My gut says to run, but I'm not sure. I usually don't harp on about things like that, but I've been thinking about it non-stop. 5. If you order takeout from a restaurant, your tip goes to the workers, and you should absolutely tip. That tip is split between more people than when you sit down and have a single server. The person that answered the phone, the expo that made sure your order is correct, there is an employee that packages and bags your order, and make sure all of your condiments and everything else you requested is included. Then there is a runner that brings your food up, or out to your car if you're doing drive-up. Your tip is pooled and split between all these people, making sure your order is correct. With the advent and popularity of DoorDash, Grubhub, etc., and COVID dramatically increasing takeaway orders, restaurants have brought on staff specifically for these orders. A lot goes into it. Pre-packaged condiments, plasticware, to-go containers, to-go cups are all more expensive than serving you in-house and washing the dishes. People bitch about tipping culture, but if everyone in the restaurant made $19.50 an hour, they would bitch about the ridiculous price of wings. Serving in restaurant work, no matter where you are, back of house, front of house, is ridiculously difficult and stressful. It is not unskilled. Bartenders have to remember hundreds of recipes and deal with people at their very worst. Servers are constantly at the mercy of demanding customers that treat them like smiling slaves that adapt and change like a smiling chameleon in an instant from table to table. To be exactly what each group expects, kitchen staff on the line suffer the weight of literally everyone's expectations of perfection. From the head chef to servers regurgitating the shit customers say, to working hours on end at 125 degrees. And let's not forget the 16-year-old host that 35 to 75-year-old adult customers scream at because they're told there is a wait to be seated, even though there are empty tables. Well, the kitchen is 9 orders behind because of the ridiculous amount of to-go orders that came in all at once, and there are only 3 servers on and their sections are full. They can't seat you in a section that doesn't have a server. When I worked in pest management, my customers assumed I knew what I was doing, and were happy I was there to provide them with my service, the service they requested. Sit your ass down and enjoy being treated like a damn member of royalty while dozens of people prepare a meal for you and literally serve you in your every request. Then clean up after you. That includes the napkin you decided to shred onto the table, the beer label you picked off, the Cheerios your kid threw on the floor, the snot-covered napkin you decided was appropriate to leave on your plate or worse, stuff in your glass, or the nasty-ass baby wipes you used for God only knows what that are in a pile on the seat of the booth. Be nice, tip well, you will be treated like kings and queens, whether you are just walking in to pick up or planning on staying for 2 hours. We all love great people, and we are in this industry because we do love it. Whether we love cooking and preparing food, love meeting new people and having the ability to make someone's day, or that feeling of being a part of someone else's good time out. And stop bitching about tipping if you aren't actively fighting to increase the minimum wage and voting for representatives that want to abolish the $2.35 minimum and $7.50 minimum. As long as the federal minimum is low, the companies will pay the minimum. That's capitalism. You want it better? The labor laws have to be better. There will be links next to the story in the description to prove the math. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 186. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Now, before you say goodbye today, I would be very appreciative if you would hit the like button, or press it, or poke it, or look at it very, very firmly until it goes, hey, and share the video with friends and family. Right, now let's see, no shout-outs today. I think there's one tomorrow, though. I think we'll have a double shout-out, birthday shout-out tomorrow. But for today, we'll just jump right ahead to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, what is the one essential luxury that everybody seems to have, that seems to be, you can't live without it, that you've never had and you live perfectly well without? For me, it's air conditioning. It's not really as popular in the UK as it is, and for the most part, we live perfectly fine without it. I'd imagine there are some houses that do have it, but by and large, it's something that I have never experienced. We generally just have fans, keeping us cool in the warmer weather. Although sometimes you get a summer that's especially hot, and you do kind of wish you had air conditioning or like, was it central air? Is that what they call it when you put the vents in the floor? Making things much more comfy. But for the most part, it's not needed. Our country's not really designed to run that way. But you might have other ideas, so why don't you let me know what you think and leave your answers in a comment below. Alright. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.